Welcome to Prescription for Success with your host, Dr. Haldey. Each week, we comb through the myths and facts about health and wellness in order to bring you the best advice and the right information that you need to live an incredible life. Now, here is Dr. Haldey.
Welcome to Prescription for Success. This is Haldey, host. Today, we have a phenomenal show prepared for you. My guest today is Jeffry Life, MD, PhD. Dr. Life received his medical degree from the University of Iowa. Dr. Life completed his residency in family medicine and internal medicine at West Virginia University. He also attained a PhD in environmental sciences at the University of Michigan. During his career, he was a full-time family physician and a part-time assistant professor. In 1998, after a lifetime of poor health and being overweight, Dr. Life entered Bill Phillips' National Body for Life Challenge. At age 60, he won the contest and became a grand champion and continued to live a lifestyle promoting health and fitness. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He published 3 books, The Life Plan, Mastering the Life Plan, and Life Plan Diet. Men's Fitness magazine selected him among movie stars and athletes in their 20s and 30s as one of the America's 25 fittest guys in 2012 when he was 72 years old. He stars in the Amazon Prime movie Growing Young and has appeared on the Inside Edition, Dateline, The Dr. Phil Show, Anderson Cooper's AC 360, The Doctors, The Steve Harvey Show, and several others that can be viewed on his website. He's a passionate supporter on preventing heart attacks and strokes and healthy aging. His website at drlife.com for more information can be visited. And also you can visit and learn about Life Center for Healthy Aging, located in Charleston, West Virginia. Dr. Life, a big and warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Dr. Haldey. This is a great honor for me to be on your show. Thank you very much.
It is truly an honor and a pleasure. A little something for our listeners. After 6:30 p.m. Eastern, we will be taking your live questions for Dr. Life and myself. Call us with your questions at 866-472-5791. Also, if you follow us at Haldey Pharmacy on Instagram or Facebook during this show, one of you will win a 3rd-generation smart speakerphone. So a little gift for you is coming your way if you follow us. So Dr. Life, it's truly an honor and a pleasure to have you. What is your view and belief on aging from a medical perspective?
Well, we've made huge advances in the last 3 or 4 decades, especially the last decade, on how to keep people alive and slow the aging process down. But we still have an epidemic of heart disease and vascular disease, and this is not being addressed. Traditional way cardiology is handled in this country is to basically wait until something bad happens. And if you survive that, then we get in there and we are good at fixing it, with stents and bypass surgery. But we're not doing anything to be proactive about preventing the occurrence of vascular disease and the progression of it. And this kills more men and women in this country than any other disease. It actually kills more than the other top 7 combined. And we really don't hear much about it. 1 woman out of 30 will die from breast cancer, but 1 woman out of 2.6 will die from a stroke or a heart attack.
Huge difference.
So, we don't have good health in this country. We're way down the list on overall health and well-being, and in spite of all the great things we can do medically. So I think we have a long way to go to get people healthy. We have a generation of children now that are expected to have a shorter lifespan than their parents, and this is the first time in the history of human that this has ever happened, and it's because of our lifestyle. Clearly. So that's what I focus on in my practice, and I know that's what you do as well.
Yes, that's excellent. Can you tell us briefly your life story? What was your mindset that helped you shift into the new version of yourself? Because you made a magnificent shift. And to me, it's truly inspirational. So can you share that with us?
Yeah, I went to med school late. I was 33 when I started med school. I got my PhD prior to that. And in med school, I would smoke cigarettes off and on. And I just thought, this is a horrible disgrace. It's just a horrible example to be setting for my patients. And I got out and started practicing. So I stopped smoking and started swimming to get in shape. And that worked well. And I then went into private practice in rural West Virginia and continued to swim. And then I moved to Pennsylvania and quit swimming and really got in bad shape. Gained a lot of weight. And for those of you that have followed me, that boat picture was taken when I was in my late 50s. And I was a type 2 diabetic, and I had coronary artery disease, pretty severe. And one day I came into my office, and someone had left a copy of Muscle Media magazine on an exam table. I don't know whether it was a patient or whether it was one of the staff, But I took that magazine home that night and read it cover to cover. That was Bill Phillips' magazine. And I decided to join the second Body for Life contest. And that was in 1998. And so I trained and took some of his supplements and did a major change and entered the contest and ended up winning it. And it really changed my life. I'm alive today because of Bill Phillips. And so I started to incorporate what I'd learned into my medical practice. And as part of that journey, I decided to pursue a degree in nutrition. And after the first year, they asked me to become part of their staff. So I became an assistant professor. And while I was practicing medicine. And so I've really been passionate about all this ever since. And that's what got me on the right path.
That's
changed my life.
Pretty amazing. So I've heard someone say it's in the moments of decisions that your destiny is shaped. So what did you have go through your mind when you made the decision? Can you share that with us? What did you say, no, there's something has to stop and something new has to begin? What was going through your mind?
Well, I knew I had a high blood pressure and I knew I'd get short of breath just climbing a short flight of steps. And I thought, I don't have to continue to live this way. I saw what my dad went through. He had developed abdominal obesity and had metabolic syndrome. He was a type 2 diabetic. And so I just decided, it was really looking at that magazine that made me realize that I don't know much about nutrition. I didn't then. And most doctors still don't know much about nutrition because we get very little training in it. And I said, I need to learn about this. And I need to learn how I can build muscle and strength and lose body fat and improve my health. It's a win-win across the board. So that's what I started doing. And the more I did it, the more I realized how right I was. I ended up writing my first book, then my second and my third that became New York Times bestseller.
It's amazing. Something for our listeners, Dr. Life is truly an inspiration to me and to many others. And this is a radio program. So I want to ask our listeners to go and Google Dr. Jeffry Life and see what Dr. Life has accomplished as far as making a major pivot in his life. And for our listeners, if you are facing a situation in your life, whether it's a health situation or financial situation or whatever it is that may be a relationship situation, you have a choice. You could be a statistic and your situation could progress further, or you could be an inspiration. And your decision. And when you make that decision, your life pivots. So I commend you on that. This is inspirational. And I hope your life's work and what you've done for yourself and for others, your patients and people that you inspire, is heard through this radio program, and that we inspire others to take steps to improve their health and life. So when you started your journey, what were the most challenging obstacles that you needed to overcome in order to become the new you?
Well, back then and now, the most challenging is what I put in my mouth. Can it kill us or make us healthy? And, in this country, we have an abundance of bad food everywhere. Every place you go, food is unhealthy. And so it takes a lot of thought and it takes a commitment to eat healthy food. And that's a daily challenge for me. I have an addictive personality. I had to quit drinking alcohol because I couldn't do that very well. And I'm very carbohydrate sensitive. So I had to really reduce the high glycemic carbs. And I have insulin resistance. So I have all the things that most Americans are fighting. And so that's been my struggle all along. And that's what I fight against. And that's what, by doing the right kind of exercise and eating clean, I've been able to make a major change in my health and the way I look, and the way I feel.
Yeah. What's good food to you?
Good food is good quality protein, lots of fruits and vegetables, and making sure that we don't put added sugar into our bodies. Sugar is a poison, and we are poisoning our children. It's just so shocking to me to watch people here in West Virginia and everywhere, the sodas they consume and the sweets they consume. And I can definitely relate to that. I definitely have an addiction to sweets, and I stay away from it, treat them like heroin,
We all do as Americans. We love sweets and
yeah, I know.
good processed salty foods.
When people from other countries come here, they're actually appalled by the sweetness of things. You eat cookies over in Germany, say, and they're not that sweet. But here, my gosh, the food industry has created an epidemic of sugar-addicted people.
Yes, yes. So in many ways, you lead the fight on aging. And in your opinion, what should be the focus of that fight?
Well, there are several focuses. Like I just said, to get some exercise. Everyone needs to move around, and to be careful about what people eat and what they shouldn't, and avoid what they shouldn't eat. And then get this mindset of, I'm surrounded by people that are like in their 50s or 60s that say they're old. You know, they give into this myth that as you get older, you should get sicker. You should get less mobile. You should sit around and give in to old age. And you don't need to do that. You know, I think as you get older, it's even more important that you exercise and you lift weights and you do cardio and you do fun things and you play with your kids and your grandkids. And so the whole attitude about aging in this country is kind of messed up. And I see this a lot here in West Virginia, and I saw it a lot when I lived in Las Vegas in California.
So how do you change that attitude? I'm sure you've counseled a lot of patients, and I know you mentioned in one of your books or interviews that you even asked them to come and work out with you.
Yeah, I do. I some of my patients will work out with me. The way I'm trying to do that is to blaze a trail and show people, mostly the baby boomers, that you don't have to age as you get older. We're all going to get older. We're all going to age, but we don't have to get old. We don't have to buy into this giving excuses because you're older.
Yes,
it's insane, and so I just work with my patients, and I talk to them often, and they have access to my cell phone, and we talk a lot. That's what I do.
That's amazing. What do you do to maintain that psychology? Because as human beings, we all have thoughts that creep up on us. What do you do to maintain
I personally do? Well, everyone gets off track. When I get off track, I suddenly realize, I'm not training like I should. And so I do things that, like I'm training now with my son, who's in his 50s. And that's hugely positive. Find someone that you enjoy being with and that you can work out with. That is really important. When you go out on a program on your own to exercise, that makes it really almost impossible after a while. So train with people that you know and love, and also don't surround yourself with people that eat badly and that don't exercise. Surround yourself with people that are energetic, and that is so important. And then my wife is she's very good about telling me things I shouldn't eat. And at first it kind of annoyed me, but now, she's helped me stay on track. And then get lab work, blood work. Mm-hmm. I get labs on my patients 3 to 4 times a year, including myself. And this really tells a story of, whether you're doing things like you should or whether you're not.
Very, very important. I want to pick up on something you mentioned. You mentioned accountability. You have a workout buddy. That's so important to have someone who's going to keep pushing you. Even if it's a workout in the morning and that 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. workout, someone is waiting for you, you're much more likely to get up and go and work out. And also,
it's all about accountability.
Yeah.
If that person is a trainer, then that's fine too.
Absolutely. Whether it's a trainer, whether it's someone in your family, whether it's someone you aspire to be like. So it's have that accountability and proximity and being associated with the right people that you want to be like one day is tremendously energizing as well.
I heard a quote that if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find another room.
We're building.
You want to be surrounded by people better than you.
Right.
Smarter than you and more fit than you. And then that really changes the whole dynamic and you succeed.
Absolutely. I'm getting a message here that we have to take a commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Prescription for Success. This is your host, Emil Haldey. Today, I'm honored to have a phenomenal guest with me, Dr. Jeffry Life, a family physician, a PhD scientist, and a remarkable individual who has mastered the growing young concept. To learn more about Dr. Life and his work, visit him at drlife.com. That's drlife.com. To learn more about Haldey Pharmaceutical or to sign up for a consultation, give us a call at 646-650-5040 or email me at thewellness@agecompound.com. And a reminder to our listeners, after 6:30 p.m. today, we will be taking live questions for Dr. Life and myself. Call us with your questions at 866-472-5791. Also, if you follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Haldey Pharmacy, you'll be giving an opportunity to win a third-generation smart speaker. So let's have some fun with that. What an excellent discussion, Dr. Life. In your opinion, what's the most relevant in life when related to aging? How do we look? How do we feel? Or what our lab markers show?
The better you look, the more you want to keep looking that way. And the better you feel. The less body fat you have, the better you feel and the healthier you are. It's a win-win across the board. And so, there are a few things in life that are win-wins, and this is truly a win-win. So the more fit you are, the better you look, and then the healthier your labs are. And so they're all important. I mean, I've seen people with really good labs that have been able to dodge bullets because of their genetics, but they don't feel good and they don't look good. But when you keep fit and keep lean and keep active and eat clean, then your labs get better and your health gets better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And we all have a package, a genetic package that we come to this world with, but our environment decides which genes get activated. So if you could have a loaded gun, but someone has to pull the trigger, and our environment is the trigger. So I completely agree with you on those things.
Each one of us has our own genetic genome.
Yes.
No one else has, unless you have an identical twin.
Yes.
And you can trump your genes. I mean, I've demonstrated that. You can actually trump your genes. If you're destined to have vascular disease and type 2 diabetes, you can trump that and avoid all that.
That is so powerful. I just want to make sure that I repeat that for our listeners, that regardless of your gene pool and regardless of what your family history is, if you create a healthy lifestyle for yourself, you can literally overcome your genes. Yes, your genes will stay the way they are, and you may have something in your genetic machine that could be activated. But if you live in an unhealthy environment, it's much more likely to be activated. So it's very, very powerful what you just mentioned. You mentioned labs. And I know that at the core of your age management, you speak about publicly, is hormone management. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Well, hormones are really super important. And as we age, our hormone levels tend to decline. And this happens rather dramatically with women when menopause enters their life. And most women can tell you when they first notice the change, when they first experience it. They call it the change. With men, it's much more insidious. Andropause creeps into a man's life, and their testosterone levels slowly decline, and it's very insidious. But it's so important that we maintain optimal hormone levels. And the hormones I'm talking about are thyroid. That's got to be checked all the time and make sure our thyroid hormones are good. Then estrogen and progesterone for women, and testosterone for women and men, especially men, and then growth hormone. And there's some others, melatonin and several others, but those are the key ones. And cortisol, we want to keep cortisol low. That's a hormone we want to keep low. And insulin, we want to keep that low. Mm-hmm. These are the hormones that cause damage. And so I'm focused on getting people's hormone levels up to the optimal level. And that does not mean off the charts. That does not mean way out of the reference range. It should be at the top of the reference range, and not for someone's age. It should be at the top, no matter whether you're 35 or like me, 80. You need your hormone levels at the top of the reference range. And that makes all the difference in how we feel and our motivation, our desire to go to the gym. It's just so important.
Yes, very powerful. This is just a little note for our listeners. If you are being treated by the right physicians knowledgeable in hormone management, you most likely will stay in the therapeutic or desired range for normal, healthy body. And your physician, as Dr. Life mentioned, will keep you in the upper range of the healthy range. So it's very, very important not to overstep that range. Or if you do, it's got to be done under the proper supervision of the right physician who is trained in hormone management to have proper reasons for that. So can we talk about, let's say, a patient who is 50, 55-year-old, a typical, or let's imagine a typical patient that you may see, a 50, 55-year-old who has type 2 diabetes, heart disease, low energy, shows up at your practice. What's the next thing?
Well, let's talk about most of my patients are men. I have about 80% of my patients are male, and the rest are female. And both men and women need help, really. So a typical guy would be a 55-year-old executive that comes in, has metabolic syndrome, has a belly. A huge number of people in this country store body fat in their belly, and that sets them up for metabolic syndrome, which is accompanied by high blood pressure and elevated cholesterol and several other things that puts them at risk for vascular disease. So they come in and they're insulin resistant. I do a glucose tolerance test on them and several other tests that show that they're not metabolizing sugar well, that they are walking around with insulin resistance and pre-diabetic, and some of them are full-blown type 2 diabetics and they don't know it. And then I also do carotid ultrasound studies. I do this CIMT where that stands for carotid intima media thickness. So I measure the intima media of their carotid arteries, and this reflects what's going on in their coronary arteries, in their heart, and their brain. And this is not done in traditional medicine. The ultrasounds that are done on people in traditional medicine look at blood flow. Mm-hmm. That really doesn't tell us what's going on with the artery itself. And so I'm able to look at the artery with the ultrasound studies I do and determine if they have inflammation going on, determine the age of their arteries. Mm-hmm. Does that correlate with their chronological age, or are the arteries older than they are or younger? So I learn about inflammation. I look for plaque. If I find plaque, and I got to tell you, 65% of people age 45 and older have plaque. And plaque is really very dangerous, especially if it's soft plaque. So I determine if it's soft, which is the early form of plaque, or if it's healed or calcified. Mm-hmm. That's stable plaque. So I determine all this, and once I have all this information, and I look at all their labs, and I order labs that are all about inflammation and specific tests for vascular inflammation, and their hormone levels, and I put all this together, and then I repeat their labs every 3 to 4 months, and I'll repeat their carotid study at 6 months or a year, mm-hmm. a year at least, and see if we're making progress at changing the soft plaque, the dangerous plaque, into calcified or healed plaque, and watch their inflammatory markers decline. And that's what I do. So I really aggressively look at their labs and share all this with them. And it's a huge motivator to patients to see that they have plaque in their arteries, and then see that they're getting better and see that the inflammatory markers are all improved.
And how long does it take for someone to see that type of result? Were they feeling better?
3 months. 3 months.
That's phenomenal.
In 3 months, I can improve inflammatory markers as far as the plaque in the arteries. In 3 months, I can make sure that they're not getting more soft plaque. And in some cases, I can see a reduction in the soft plaque and some calcification of that soft plaque, which is what we want, the healing of the plaque.
Right. Really, really amazing. So let's talk about hormones. First, let's talk about hormones for men, right? And for men, it's mainly testosterone and possibly some other hormones. Let's talk about the use and abuse and the controversies out there. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there are huge controversies out there for testosterone replacement therapy and growth hormone because of the abuse that men have done with bodybuilders and athletes. That has given hormone replacement therapy a bad name. And these guys do this to huge excess. And I think my best guess is that some of these people have testosterone levels that are in the 20 to 30,000 range, when it should be not much more than 1,000, 1,200 maybe. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much growth, I don't know what their growth hormone levels get to, but they do this in huge excess. And it's given this whole hormone replacement therapy a bad name. But, if it's done right and we get the levels up to the top of the reference range, then it just changes everything. Slows the aging process down. It reverses disease, age-related disease, and prevents the progression of age-related disease.
Yes.
It's dementia and Alzheimer's, I mean, it's just so vitally important.
That's very, very powerful. But the key there, in my opinion, is to be guided and to be treated by the right physician, someone who really knows what they're doing as far as hormone management. Dr. Life, we have a caller on the line, Stephanie, and she has a question about her boyfriend. Stephanie, tell us more.
Hi.
Hi there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. What's your question?
I'd
Where
like
are you
to
calling
get
from?
advice. I'm calling from New York.
Welcome, Stephanie from New York. What's your question?
Hi. So my boyfriend is 50 years old, and he's always tired and has low energy. He's a bit overweight, and he's tried some testosterone therapy, and it hasn't worked. Is there anything that you recommend?
Well, when you say he's tried testosterone therapy, what kind of testosterone therapy did he have? Has he used?
I'm not exactly sure. I think it's just the generic Atravis gel. I think that's what it's called.
Say that again.
It sounds like a compounded version, possibly. But the key question is, maybe it's to relate to our early discussion, Dr. Life, was this person treated by a physician who specializes in testosterone therapy? Or
Right.
was it just a physician who is prescribed testosterone therapy because that sounded like the right next step? Do you agree with that assessment?
Right. I think it was just a general doctor.
Well, I think that's a problem. I mean, if someone goes on testosterone replacement, if a male goes on testosterone replacement therapy, they need to be followed closely. They need to have blood levels checked to make sure the levels are coming up. There are also some breakdown products of testosterone that can be harmful. That needs to be monitored. So this is not something that can just be handled casually by a doctor or a nurse practitioner or physician assistant that really is not knowledgeable in how to do this. And so your boyfriend needs to, it sounds to me like he is suffering from low testosterone level and
Right.
I mean, fatigue and, loss of desire, loss of zest for life, all that ties into low testosterone. And if he gets his testosterone level up to where it should be and combines that with the proper consumption of food, eating clean, and the right kind of exercise, that includes cardio, flexibility, and resistance training, he's going to change in no time. You won't believe what he's going to be like in 3 to 6 months. So that's my answer to that.
Sounds like you got the right prescription here, Stephanie. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you so much.
So this is truly, truly important to be guided by the right physician. I cannot stress it enough. For those of you who are interested in working with Dr. Life, please contact Dr. Life through his website, and you'll find his contact information at drlife.com. If you are unable to travel to West Virginia, feel free to check us out, and we'll guide you and help you find the right physicians to help with your situation, whatever medical situation you're facing. And you could reach us at look us up at hcompound.com. So thank you to our caller.
I only need to see my patients once a year, so they can fly out to beautiful Charleston, West Virginia, and then I take care of them after that on Zoom, like we're doing now, or FaceTime and texting.
That's
email.
Excellent. That's excellent. In 2019, so there's a lot more technology available, and let's use technology to help us get better.
Isn't it amazing?
Yes, absolutely. Truly amazing. And thank you for answering that question. Can we pick up and talk about testosterone and the controversy that exists about cardiovascular disease and FDA's warning on use of testosterone and cardiovascular warning? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the problems we've seen with the testosterone and heart disease are a result of excessive use of testosterone. But, if you have a low testosterone level, that puts a man at greater risk for vascular disease, a heart attack, or stroke. If testosterone is maintained at a healthy level, then it reduces risks of dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and heart attacks and strokes and vascular disease. And there are good studies, peer-reviewed studies out there that can support this.
Yes.
Men have more testosterone receptors in their heart and brain than they do in their penis, and that's just the way it is. So
numbers never lie, right?
That's right.
And we also know there are testosterone receptors even in people's eyes. So I believe there's some data to show that testosterone replacement helps prevent or maybe decrease the magnitude of macular degeneration, different degenerative eye conditions. So it's a very powerful hormone if guided, managed by the right physician. Excellent. Well, Dr. Life, I'm getting a message here that we need to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
You're listening to Prescription for Success. If you'd like to reach the program today, please call 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to wellness@hcompound.com. Now back to Prescription for Success.
Welcome back to Prescription for Success. This is your host, Emil Haldey. Today, I'm honored to have a phenomenal guest with me, Dr. Jeffry Life, a family physician, a PhD scientist, and a remarkable individual who has mastered the growing young concept. To learn more about Dr. Life and his work, visit him at drlife.com. To learn more about Haldey Pharmaceutical or to sign up for a consultation, give us a call at 646-650-5040 or email me at wellness@hcompound.com. So, Dr. Life, we had an excellent discussion about testosterone. What about women? How do you navigate a woman who has reached her menopause and experiencing some symptoms of hormonal imbalance? What's your approach?
I put them on bioidentical estrogen and progesterone. You know, women have taken a huge hit because of the WHI Women's Health Initiative study, which used Premarin and Provera. And these are not bioidentical. In fact, Premarin is made from pregnant horse urine. And so the results of that study have tainted all the uses of estrogen in women, including the bioidentical ones. And it's taken a good while to get to recover from that.
Yes.
So I use that in my practice to keep women's hormones so they breeze through menopause and they keep on being healthy and vital.
Yes.
And women also need testosterone. Testosterone cream for women is the way to go. And it just makes all the difference in their energy and their ability to stay lean and healthy and fit.
Very powerful. So just a point of distinction for our listeners, you mentioned WHI study. Most of doctors out there today are basing their decision about hormone replacement therapy for women based on a use of synthetic estrogen that was studied in that study. And the estrogen and the hormone replacement therapy that Dr. Life is referring to is bioidentical hormones. Those are the hormones that are natural, or exactly the same hormones that are in our bodies. And it makes a world of difference. And again, the key there, you have to be guided by the right physician. And I promote this concept in my life and in life of my patients, my family, that you have to be the CEO of your health. You absolutely need to be guided by the right practitioner who you trust and believe in, but it's on you to really take the right steps forward as far as your diet, as far as your hormone medical management, as far as your exercise and everything else that comes your way in life. So how do you stay young and fit? What keeps you motivated?
Well, what keeps me motivated is just I do not want to get old. That's a huge motivator.
Yes.
And I don't want vascular disease to take me out. And so one of my biggest motivators is keeping my arteries healthy. So I've been able to heal up all my plaque, and I want to maintain that. I don't want any inflammation going on in my arteries. So what I do is I make sure I do cardio, 150 minutes of cardio a week, which is it's not that difficult to do, just 30 minutes, 5 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
I do more than that. And so that's very important. And I've figured out the cardio that works best for me, but it can, everyone has things they like to do when it comes to exercise and things they don't. So you got to figure out what you like and then really stay with that and encourage that and promote that. Then I like to lift weights, and I spend an hour, maybe four days a week, lifting weights, hour to an hour and 15 minutes, depending on how much my son and I talk. And I hit a different body part every day. Chest on one day, back on another day, arms on another day, legs on another day, shoulders on another day. And each time is about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And I keep meticulous notes on how much weight I lift, how many reps I do, how many sets I do. And I refer to that all the time and make sure that I'm doing what I was able to do years ago. In fact, I do better now at age 80 than I did when I was in my 50s, which is kind of amazing. I found an old log, and I was amazed that I'm actually able to do better now. And so, and all these things just help promote. I mean, it's a work in progress all the time to stay focused and stay on track with everything.
Yes.
I start to get off track, then I get back, have techniques to get back on track.
Staying on track and keeping motivated, very, very important. Dr. Life, we have a caller with a question. Jacob, what's your question? Where are you calling from? Jacob, are you on the line with us?
I'm here.
Welcome, Jacob. Where are you from? What's your question?
I'm from New York.
We have another New Yorker. Welcome, New York.
Yes. My question is, I saw Dr. Life's page and Facebook, and I saw his body, how he looks like, the six packs and everything. And I have a question. I'm to the gym 3-4 times per week, but I don't use any supplements, any testosterone. I take only regular protein. And my body actually doesn't change, so I don't see any changes. And I would like to ask Dr. Life, what would be his suggestion? Should I start taking testosterone, or should I start taking some supplements? Or what would be his suggestions to get a good result and be in a good shape?
Well, how old are you, Jacob?
I'm 29.
Okay, so I would say you really need to eat plenty of protein. Try to eat 4 or 5 small meals a day. And when you do resistance training, I want you to tend to go 6 to 12 reps on different exercises. So you want to use heavier weights, but you need someone to guide you. I would get a trainer that really knows what they're doing. And then I'm sure your testosterone level is fine. You know, it's men in their 40s and older that start to get into trouble with testosterone, but you can have it checked. I have had a couple of patients in their late 20s, early 30s that had low testosterone levels. And I think
But what is the way to check my testosterone? Should I go to my doctor, or how it works?
I think, you could go to your doctor and ask him or her to order a testosterone level. You want to get the total testosterone, then you want to get the free testosterone and the bioavailable testosterone. And they can order it for you. If they won't order it, then you need to find a doctor that will. And then you need to know the numbers, because lots of patients get the blood work and their doctor says, well, Joe, hey, good news, you're normal. Well, you have a testosterone level of 300 and they're telling you that's normal. Well, it is in the normal range, but you're a D- student. And I don't think any guy should be a D- student, or even a B or a C student when it comes to testosterone. So you want your testosterone level, 500, 600, somewhere in there. And so you need to know the numbers. You don't want to be told that you're okay, you're normal. Okay.
You got yourself an excellent answer, Jacob. Thank you so much for calling. Just to reiterate something.
Great answer.
Thank you. Just to reiterate something Dr. Life mentioned, it's really important to test free testosterone as well. A lot of physicians just check overall testosterone, and it's within the range, but the free testosterone may be low, and that's causing the symptoms for a lot of patients.
It's the free testosterone that is able to go to all your receptor sites and do all the good things.
Exactly. So we talked a little bit about testosterone, estrogens, and customizing different treatment plans. When does a compounding pharmacist come into the equation?
Well, I think they come in throughout the entire medical approach to hormone deficiency, because compounding pharmacies are really up to speed now to really do a good job, especially reputable compounding pharmacies to do a great job compounding estrogens, progesterone, testosterone creams, on and on. And they do a good job, and the cost is much less than the pharmaceutical grade testosterone and hormones.
So what does the process look like? Let's say you have a female or male patient and you want to prescribe customized hormone replacement therapy for them. How do you change the dose as the treatment progresses? Do you consult the pharmacist? How does the process look like for you?
Well, I start them out and then I check blood levels.
Mm-hmm.
And if their blood levels are still not optimal, then I will increase the dose. And that can be done through just taking more of the medication, or they can be compounded to be stronger. So I'd work with a pharmacist to compound it and tailor it to the specific needs of the patient based on how they feel, on the results they're getting, and their blood work.
Yes. You mentioned something earlier. You said working with a reputable compounding pharmacy. It's really important to me. I feel very passionate about compounding and supporting our profession here. So for our listeners, if you are looking for a compounding pharmacy, make sure it's a PCAP accredited compounding pharmacy that you're reaching out to. PCAP is the board certification that the compounding pharmacy carries, similar to board certification for the doctor. So, and that's basically means that the pharmacy has gone through rigorous assessment by third party, and they stand by their quality and the processes. So it's very
that's PCAP, PCAP?
PCAB, Pharmacy Compounding Accreditation Board, PCAP.
PCAB. Okay.
So you are a symbol of masculinity, Dr. Life, for many men. And I heard from a lot of guys, they say, well, I want to be like Dr. Life when I grow up. But what's your advice for women to stay young and to feel great as they age?
Basically, it's the same. Make sure they eat right, eat clean, make sure they exercise, doing combination of cardio, flexibility, and resistance training. Hire a trainer that they really inspires them and motivates them, and then make sure their hormones are well balanced. And then get a trainer or training partners that really motivate them, and surround themselves with fit people, fit men and women.
Yes. Proximity is power.
Yep. It's basically the same thing.
Someone, let's say, who's listening to us and is on a limited budget, but wants to do the right thing for their body and for their health. What are the top 2 or 3 things that they can do?
Well, they could buy some books that really help them when it comes to nutrition. The nutrition should be all about keeping blood sugars low throughout the day. You know, throughout the day, most Americans spike their blood sugars throughout the day, and they go to bed and they end up with elevated insulin levels through the day and night. And when insulin is too high, it prohibits, from a biochemical point of view, people from metabolizing their own body fat and using their body fat as energy.
Yes.
So you can get some really great books out there that are all about maintaining low blood sugars, and books on how to train and exercise. And then commit to it and write it down and set yourself goals and achieve these goals, and then set new goals, and just that's the way to do it.
Yes. So you said a very powerful word, commit to it. When you make a decision, you decide, you literally cut off all other possibilities as far as the choices. So if you decide to be healthy, and once again, I want to tell you the concept that I'm very passionate about, be the CEO of your own health, and work with the right physician, nurse practitioner, PA, someone who's really knowledgeable in the area of medicine that you need help with, but also work with a trainer, someone that will guide you, someone that will keep you accountable. That's very, very important.
And get rid of your fat, lazy friends that drag you down, and get people that really inspire you and get you up moving around, give you great role models.
Yes. Someone asked the question, what happens if I have a family who is not inspiring? Love your family. Get yourself inspiring friends. That's my message to you.
And set a great example for your family.
That's right. That's very, very true. Ladies and gentlemen, our show is coming to an end. What a wonderful, terrific discussion. Very inspirational and educational. I want to announce our winner of the speakerphone that we're going to be giving away. That's Flor Morales. And that's from San Jose, Costa Rica. So we'll be mailing that to you to Costa Rica. Ladies and gentlemen, this makes it a show. Thank you so much, Dr. Life, for a tremendous discussion. Very powerful. My message to you, our dear listeners, is be the CEO of your health. You need to be guided by an amazing practitioner, but it's your life. You lead it. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay happy and healthy.
Thank you, Emil.
All the best.